Thank you all for joining us this afternoon. As you are aware, the state constitution requires that there be sufficient funding for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. And over the years, that funding has varied between $1 and $5 million. In the 90s, between $1 and $3 million in the 2000s. And at least for the last 3 years, it's been at $9.6 million. So I just wanted to announce that I will be submitting a governor's message to the legislature seeking that sufficient funds be provided in the state budget for the operations and administration of the Hawaiian Homelands program. The specific request will be for $17.14 million in fiscal year 16. So that is above the 9.6 million that is currently in the budget. And the request for fiscal year 17 will be $17.8 million in general funds. And we would note that an additional $5.7 million would be expended for fringe for the personnel costs in that, bringing the total appropriation for fiscal year 17 to $23.5 million. I just want to be clear that this is not a settlement of the Nelson case. This is the executive fulfilling its requirement to provide sufficient funds for the Department of Hawaiian Homelands. We have been working. This appropriation for fiscal year 17 would include all of the existing positions that are filled in the department. It would recognize that 48 of the currently vacant positions, we would allow them to retain. And then most importantly, we are adding 28 new positions that the department has requested. We do believe that this allows the department to professionalize. The new positions would now become civil servants rather than the exempt positions that can be hired arbitrarily. We believe that setting minimum qualifications would allow the department to stabilize and professionalize the staff at the Hawaiian Homelands program. And I think most importantly, it would allow them to be positioned to provide better services for existing homesteaders and beneficiaries that currently are on the land, but most importantly, allow us to move the programs forward to place more of the beneficiaries into homeland programs and get them on the land. So with that, I'd be more than happy to take any questions.
How is it going to help it fulfill its mission better, this extra funding? Can you talk a little bit about that?
It really is about professionalizing the staff and give them the resources in those areas that they believe gives them the best opportunity to execute on the program. So as I said, we're not providing all the vacant positions that they have. We've gone through and discussed with the department those that are most important for the homesteading programs. And so those are the vacant positions that they would keep. In addition, we are creating 28 new positions. And again, they would be civil service positions. So we would allow them to fill those new positions. And they are the positions that the department feels they need to allow them to be more efficient and effective in implementing the homestead program.
Is this going to have any effect on the wait list, how things are dealt with? Are these positions going to help?
We believe that this funding would allow the department to become more efficient and effective and address the wait list problem. You know, I would want to say that the wait list problem has been a part of the homesteading program for too long, but it's been 70 years or so in the making. And this single appropriation or this budget year will not solve all of those problems. I think we are committed to focusing on what the needs of the department is and then providing the professional resources they need to be able to deliver and provide services for existing beneficiaries as well as make improvements in the homesteading program moving forward.
Governor, do you still plan to pursue an appeal in the court case?
The court case is totally separate, so this really has no relationship to the court case. But I'm certain that the Attorney General would be willing to respond to any specific questions if he's able.
You want me to? Oh, sure. Hi, everyone. Attorney General Doug Chin. And the answer is the budget schedule is completely separate from the litigation process. So where we are at right now with the court case is we're still waiting for a judgment to come from the circuit court. There had originally been in the order an amount of more than 28 million that had been ordered by the circuit court judge. That was in November. Most recently, in February, the judge reconsidered that order and deleted that amount, that 28.4 million, from the order. But there is a new motion to reconsider that was filed by the plaintiffs, asking for the judge to put that back and put back the 28.4 million. And the court hasn't ruled on that. So as you can see, the litigation is continuing, but in the meantime, as the governor mentioned, there is a budget process that must be followed. One of the things that the court explained was that it's really important for all the parts of the state government to fulfill their constitutional duties. So essentially what's happening today is the executive branch is fulfilling their constitutional duty by putting forth this governor's message. And the next stop will be the legislature for them to fulfill their constitutional duty and make an appropriation.
Would you say this is the happy medium between the 9.6 million and the 28.5?
You know, I think that the governor's message that we're putting out today, we believe is a fair appropriation of what can reasonably be implemented by the department. As you may be aware, there has been a history of vacancies in the department that has really not allowed them to implement the program as aggressively as I think many of us would want. So we do believe that this is a fair appropriation to request that balances the interest and funds fully all of the filled positions and provides additional positions that the department believes is necessary to move the program forward.
So for the fiscal year 2016, the 17.1 million, how exactly does that appropriation happen? Does it have to be approved by the legislature, or can you do an emergency?
No, so we are making this request, as you may be aware, the intention of this message is really to reimburse the department for actual expenses incurred. So even though they have a number of vacant positions, we are not providing funds for positions that could have been filled. That 17.1 million represents actual positions filled and cost incurred with executing the program. So we'll be working with the legislature about what the mechanics of getting this funding available, whether it be through the bill that is currently in process in the legislature, or that we would fund it through the budget. So we'll be working with the legislature to find that solution.
And just because that's above the 9.6 million we already
The 9.6 is included in the 17. So the 17.1 is the total appropriation that would be required for fiscal year 16.
The department has been criticized for not spending its federal funding fast enough. What sort of assurances are you seeking that they'll be able to spend this money for operations?
Well, we definitely intend to work with the legislature. I think all of us would really want to see higher performance of the homesteading program. So we believe that this appropriation begins and starts that process. In addition to fully funding the existing 119 positions, it funds 48 vacant positions that they believe is important and appropriates 28 new positions. So again, yeah, at that point, then it would be all about execution. And the legislature and the executive is very interested in ensuring that they can do a better job.
DHHL, however, argues that it should be 28 million. Where is the discrepancy?
Things that I think the discrepancy, a big portion of it is the vacant positions and whether all of them should be funded or not. So clearly, we don't believe that it's prudent to fund all vacant positions because it would take a lot of work to fill them all. So that's the first difference. The second difference really comes in, there are some operating costs that historically has never been paid with general funds that the agency believes should be funded with general funds. And those are infrastructure with the homesteading and others. We can provide you a specific accounting of what those discrepancies are. So they are included in the 28 million that was requested, but they are not being included in this governor's message.
Any other questions? Okay, we're good for now. Thank you.
Yeah, and just in closing, I just would like to thank the legislature for their encouragement and their willingness to work with the executive to really find a balance and a way to move forward. I appreciate their passion about funding this program. I think all of us feel the obligation to move this homesteading program forward. And I look forward to working with the legislature on making the decisions about what the final appropriation for the department should look like. So thank you all.